Welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. My guest today, Mr. Darrell Spencer. G'day, Darrell.
G'day, how are you?
I'm very well,
Good.
thank you. Nice to have an international guest today.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, no, it's good to be here.
Yeah, no, great to connect again, and it's probably worth explaining how we met for people who may not know your name, being in Australia, but there are some Aussies that listen too. So we were at the Hakansa annual conference in Brisbane last year, weren't we?
Yes, we were. Yeah, so I took the trip up to to Brisbane. Sorry, I hadn't been
Mm,
to a Hakansa conference before. I've been a health and wellness coach for a few years now, but always loved going to those types of conferences because one, the opportunity to connect with like-minded people, and I
mm,
feel you always learn something, yeah, to better yourself in whatever field you're in. So
mm,
yeah, no,
mm.
it was great, a great few days, and sunny
Mm.
Brisbane's always great to visit as well.
Yeah, it was. It was nice to have a little bit of time to wander around and get to know it a little bit because I've only sort of been through it. I haven't actually stayed in Brisbane, so that was great. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Yes.
good
No,
to meet
very
so
good.
many, like you say, good to meet so many like-minded people. There were lots of them
Definitely,
there.
and here's some great speakers also. Yep.
Yes, yeah. I think they did a good job with keeping the speakers well under an hour, so it meant that we could get a lot more of them in there, and there was some good variety.
There was some great variety. Actually, I just ran a class just previous to jumping on here, but I was only talking about one of the speakers in my class to a group of ladies I had. So yeah,
Yeah,
which was good. So
yeah,
yep.
yeah. So tell us a bit more about the business. So you're based in, is it Corowa?
Corowa in
Corowa?
New South Wales, which is on the New South Wales Victorian border. So we're 3 hours north of Melbourne, but
Yeah.
probably 7 hours south of Sydney, right on the Murray River. So it's not a
Mm,
it's a bit more rural place. The township of about 6 to 8 thousand,
mm.
close to Albury Wodonga's the biggest centre, probably 40 minutes away. That's Albury Wodonga combined is well over 100,000. So,
Right, right.
yeah.
Okay. And so I guess being a small community like that, you'd be reasonably well known.
Yeah, definitely. I've lived in the community. Corowa is the New South Wales town, and across the river we have Wagga and Rutherglen, the Victorian towns that are close by. So I actually grew up in Rutherglen, a Victorian, and then once I was married, I moved interstate 10 minutes away to Corowa. So yeah, so I've been around the area for a long time. So yeah, I am fairly well known and know a lot of people in the community.
Yeah. And I think that helps, doesn't it, in terms of establishing a business and building a client base and that credibility. It's if you're a stranger in town, it's a hard ask, but if you know a few people, it certainly makes life a little bit easier in terms of business life.
Yeah, it definitely was helpful for me. In my prior life, I was we had a family retail clothing shop. So being in retail business for 20 odd years, I knew a lot of people there anyway, and I had
Right.
a reasonable sporting background. I played a lot of footy in the town and tennis, and I
Mm,
think that was valuable as well because sort of give you a bit of credibility in that fitness field. So
mm,
yeah, certainly being well known in the town, having that retail background where you made a lot of connections, and then the sporting background was a really good mix to get a
mm.
business up and going quite quickly. Yeah.
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 So when you started, so it's HC Health Hub, right?
Yeah.
When you started HC Health Hub, was that brand new off the ground, or was that already an existing business?
No, well, there's quite a backstory to that.
Ah.
So, I mentioned that I was in retail for 20 years. I had
Mm,
a wife and two young children. I had a bit of tragedy in my life. My wife passed away, so unfortunately, she had bowel cancer at 37, and so I was sort of left in a bit of a dilemma. I had two young boys to raise. I felt I couldn't contribute to the family business as I was. So I sold my share of the family business to my brother, and I started PTing actually out of my brother had a huge shed on his place in
mm,
town. I started PTing out of his shed and running some circuits.
Mm.
I did that for a couple of years, and that I could manage my time with the young children then. And
Yeah.
then that led to bringing on board a mate, a business partner, and we opened a commercial gym in the town. And that grew really well from about, I don't know, 2009 to 2016. We probably had about, I don't know, 600 members,
Nice.
PT, lots of PT. And I grew a bit
Mm.
tired of the daily grind of that, and
Mm.
as many
Mm.
PTs do, as we all know. And I actually sold my share of the gym to my business partner and went off and did a bit of telco work for a few years, which I enjoyed parts of it, but didn't love parts of it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And that the fitness wellness industry was sort of at the core of my heart, and I
Mm.
ended up uh, as part of the gym set up, my business partner and I had set up, um, we had quite a large freehold that we bought, and we had a physiotherapy clinic in there. And that physio moved out, and we needed something to fill that space. So myself and my business partner bought that another physiotherapy clinic, the other one in town, and moved it in. And that's how I come back in. And that's when we started HC Health Hub. So
Yes.
health culture was the original gym we set up. HC Health Hub, Health Culture Health Hub, was our physiotherapy side of the business.
Ah.
So if you want some advice there, so my business partner and I were not physios, but we bought a
Yep.
physio business and
Yeah.
brought on the actual owner of that business who we bought it off come on board.
Mm.
But it's not the greatest move we've ever made. It was actually yeah, cost us a bit of dough because as a PT and owning a gym, if you're
Mm.
short on trainers, you can jump in and
Yep.
fill the breach. But we found it difficult to attract other physios. Not just in our business, we're in connection with a lot of physios in the area. Everyone was having problems at that time,
Mm.
just attracting physios. So whenever our main physio went on holidays, we couldn't offer as many sessions, obviously, and then people would gravitate to other physiotherapists. And yeah, just be careful if you're dabbling. It probably taught me to stay a bit more in my lane, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, that evolved into we started this HC Health Hub, which had a physiotherapy clinic in it, and I was doing some wellness coaching. Um, that grew into we ended up selling the physiotherapy clinic to some exercise physiologists.
Mm.
I kept so the extra EPs come in. I set up a studio gym and I continued to run. I'd started these functional strength training classes called
Mm.
Kinetic Link Training,
Mm.
which has gone really well. I started off running 6 a week. I now run 22 a week, and I
Jeez.
incorporate that with my, the health and wellness coaching part. So the
Right.
whole health hub is now, an EP clinic, myself doing functional strength training, and some wellness coaching as part of it as well.
Fantastic. I like it. Quite a lot going on
Well, a
there.
bit complex, but it all works. Yeah.
No, no, it sounds like it's found where it needs to be after all of the other bits that you've had along the way.
Well, sort of. I face a challenge at the minute where the kinetic link training, which I run and I've grown myself, is really popular. And but I share the studio gym that I've built with the EPs. That was part of our deal,
Mm. Mm.
and I need that gym more often, not now than
Mm.
when I'm sharing it. So I'm actually
Yeah.
in the process of negotiating a lease for another building in town where I can set up a what we call KLT or kinetic link
Right.
training gym, fully focused on kinetic link training.
Just that stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. Growth.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
growth is good. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
but presents challenges, and there's always a bit of fear if you're setting up something new, whether it's going to be successful. But I think
Yeah.
with this model, I've actually proven it works within
Mm.
the EP clinic.
Mm. Mm.
Now it's just a matter of picking it up and putting it in um, its own area and promoting more, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see from your website the KLT classes involve a lot of cable work. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, we do everything with cables and dumbbells. So
Yeah.
and I've spent probably as you have, Richard, a lot of years training, probably more in a traditional way where you might lay on a bench and just train your
Mm,
chest, or you stand up and do bicep curls and just
mm,
train your biceps. But kinetic just means movement. So
mm,
when
mm.
we think about movement in reality, everything in our body is linked. And why do we not train the whole movement chain rather
Yep.
than muscles in isolation? So
Yeah.
it's been really popular, and especially my main target audience is 40 plus. And
Cool.
so, yeah, I guess if you want a tip is trying to niche down,
Mm, mm.
it's been really good for me. So, you know, people that are 40 plus are, a lot of times are really starting to struggle with movement.
Yep.
Um, and this form of training has been a great way to, yeah, to help those people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. The thing I love about cables is it's so you can create a lot of variety with that one piece of gear, right? You know, you can
Yes.
high, low, somewhere in the middle, pull, push, twist,
Yep.
yeah, turn it into a leg movement, and you know, it's all coming from the same bit of kit.
Yes.
And yeah, I love Vipers as for that reason as well. So
Yes.
I've used Vipers quite a bit through encouraging different planes of movement because
Yep.
obviously we get strong through the sagittal plane, but you know the brain and the body and everything else that you know, as you say, in terms of that whole kinetic thing, is we don't just move through the sagittal plane, but
Exactly.
a lot of gym historically movement has been through that sagittal plane, and so I'm in the same camp as you. I love that full body movement um, and often when you're putting people through a full body movement, you can see where the issues are with their ability to move. And
Definitely.
if you need to work on some components of it, you know, the isolation, and then come back to the integrated
Yes.
full body movement, it's easier to do
Yes, sure.
because you've seen the whole pattern. Yeah, so I love that stuff too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's
Mm,
certainly it's been a game changer for me, and also one for my headspace and interest in the industry. But
mm,
it's really exciting because I think um, in a way that 40 plus age bracket is a little forgotten in a lot of gym spaces.
yeah.
There's this whole movement, the high rocks movement, and
Mm,
it's all, a lot, sorry, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of go hard or go home type setup. And
yeah.
you
Yeah.
would know as we age, that doesn't always suit. So
Yeah.
this is a great way of training, a safe way of training, but really beneficial for movement and stability going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And so when you're running your classes, do you have a theme in terms of what it's called or how you differentiate it from another class, or are they all the same? How does it typically run?
Yeah, look, we have a great program. I work with a guy, Wayne Rogers. He's a pretty high level physio, is the one that developed KLT or kinetic link training, and he used
Right.
it mainly for rehab in his physio clinics. But he knew that it actually worked really well as a gym type program. So I've
Mm,
probably been the main driver behind it, and there's a few others now, but bringing it to life in a class based program. So
mm,
it's really biomechanically balanced and structured. So in
yeah,
every KLT class, you'll do an anterior push, a posterior pull, an
yep,
inferior pull, a superior push.
yep,
Superior pull, inferior push, and what we call an opening arc and a closing arc. Okay,
right.
so you'll do that's all upper body, but you'll integrate that with moving your legs in all planes of motion as well. So every KLT exercise is done standing up, and you'll work
Yep,
your upper body, lower body, and core.
yep,
Now we'll always do those 8 movements I said, anterior push,
yep,
posterior pull, but
yep.
you'll do them in lots of different ways. So I have about 13 different circuits we work through. So and a lot of people come to 3 circuits a week, so they would have to come, it would be into their fourth week before they did the same exercise.
Right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, and the good thing as a trainer, if there's PTs out there, for me, it's all set up, it's all structured. Like tonight, we'd done circuit one actually on Monday, and I have a girl run some classes for me on Tuesday. They did circuit
Mm,
one as well. It's different people coming. I just whip all the signs down from circuit one, circuit two, adjust all the equipment. and bang, we're ready to go. I don't have to
Nice.
think, program. It's all beautifully structured out. So
Mm, mm.
it's uh, a really low. It doesn't take a lot of brain power, but it's a
Yep.
beautiful type
Yeah.
of workout.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Because
great.
the thinking's already been done in terms of the
Thinking,
construction of the
thinking
circuit.
and structure is all set out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have
No.
8 stations. I don't have any more than 8 people in a class.
Ah, okay.
And so people, you'll work through those 8 stations, doing those 8 different upper body movements combined
Right.
with your lower body movements. Yeah.
Right. Right. So do people come off the cables to do other things when they're as part of that, or is it eight different cables?
No, I have 8 different cables.
It
Oh,
is.
well,
Okay.
six. I have 6 different cables, and two of the
Yep.
exercises are dumbbell based. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
six.
Yep.
I have two dual adjustable pulleys, two DAPs, and four single stack cable stations, and then dumbbells. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
suits all the circuits. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Um,
Excellent. And I guess fairly efficient in terms of use of space because
yes.
they're all
Yeah.
lined up against each other against the wall.
I work out of really only a bit over 70 square meters of
Mm.
space. I'm looking for bigger than that because I have some different ideas of things that I want to bring to the business. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but it's also
So
class based. I never thought that I didn't like classes much when I was PTing. One, probably because um, it was just more class writing, program writing, working out what you're
mm.
going to do. Because that part's already taken care of. The fun part, I think people come to the class a lot for the community. Well, one, it's a great way of training and the exercise is greater, but it's actually the community. And I always have, a bunch of dad jokes up on the wall that we train regularly, and people, fair dinkum, people love
Yeah.
it.
All right.
And the other thing we do is we chat a lot about what's going on in the world at the minute.
Mm.
So I believe people come just because they love coming to the group and the chat, and we discuss, lots of things. Donald Trump's up most sessions now, but we talk
Yeah.
about sport, and I have another girl that works for me, and I've been
Mm.
working with her on just also being successful at running classes is about not being judgmental, being curious.
Mm.
So I
Mm.
don't ever, I bring up lots of topics and we discuss them, but I don't force my views on anyone.
Mm.
I love
Mm.
hearing other people's views because
Mm.
sometimes it changes the way I think about things.
Mm. Mm.
But I think if you're very opinionated and want to you actually force people away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about creating, a great vibe, a safe place, a fun place where people want to come is nearly
Mm.
as important as the exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's funny. It's interesting. I one of our conferences in New Zealand a couple of years ago, I did a presentation on I think it was the top five themes from the PT Graduate podcast. So all the people I'd talked to, the uh the things that came up the most often when they were sharing their tips or just the conversation we were having, and that community component was by far and away, like, number one or number two in almost every situation.
Yeah.
And
And I think
it kind of,
maybe, Richard, it's becoming more important given
yeah.
the emergence of the digital world, and people
Mm,
spend a lot of time online and not communicating as we would see in a normal way that you used to have to 25, 30 years ago. So
yeah,
I feel like there's maybe a bit of a gravitation back to that sort of thing. Yeah, and it's
yeah.
certainly worked really well in my business.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And there's that sort of declining uh, interest in religion. Well, there has been, I think. And we've got those three places. We've got our home, we've got our work, and we've got our third place. And
Yep.
if there isn't a church involved or some sort of religious community, then the gym kind of becomes that third place for a lot of other people.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
that safe place. That's a whole good bunch of mates, all like-minded,
Yeah.
very similar thinkers, and you're right. It's really interesting to listen to what they have to say because
Yeah.
it broadens your mind because they all do different things, and they
Yes.
all come together. And it's like this is an interesting melting pot of
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. So so don't shut them down when they have their
Mm.
say. Don't shut them down with your opinion. Just let their opinion flow and be curious over offended as to what they might be saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
The
think,
other thing, you said the three things. We're
mm,
quite a sporting community here, so I think,
yep.
you have home, you have work. The other connection place is the sporting club. There's a lot of footy or
Yeah.
tennis
Yeah.
or cricket. But I've noticed with the younger ones these days, the gym is probably, whereas the sporting club used to be the third home, and it still is for a lot of people, but the younger ones coming through, I feel like the gym maybe they're choosing to go and train on their terms and their time frame rather
Mm,
than a set time frame. Footy trainings at 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. Well, I don't know, do that. I'll go to the gym at 5:30.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
they can pick and choose.
Do
Sorry,
you?
that's more the main gym sort of setup. My classes are obviously at regular times.
Yeah. 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 Yes, exactly. It's a bit more predictable.
Yep.
Do you manage those with, is there software you run, Darrell, that
Yeah, yeah,
helps you keep in touch with making sure you don't oversubscribe people or all
yeah,
that?
yeah. So when I first started, it was all a bit manual, and then I got going with the Acuity scheduling app, and it was just didn't have quite enough functionality for what I wanted. I've just
Mm,
transitioned to a team up app. Yeah, so
okay.
reason being is with Acuity. So the model I'd like to get people on is recurring memberships. So,
Mm,
if they can buy a two class
yeah.
a week membership or three class a week membership, and it's a automatic weekly direct debit.
Yeah.
But because my classes were filling up, the way Acuity works is you can book your three classes, but you can't book your next three until your payment comes out.
Ah,
So I had some people that were buying packs and casual visitors taking up all the classes in the next week. So when the members went to book their class, they couldn't.
yeah. Yeah.
So Team Up addresses that. So once you're on a recurring membership, you can book as far forward as you like,
Right.
and
Right.
that works better for my classes. So my members, which is my preferred way of getting the income on a
Mm,
weekly direct debit, they
mm.
can book their classes up and be assured of their spots. Yeah,
Yeah.
given that I have a limit of eight in a class.
Yes. Yeah. 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 No, interesting. I always like asking that question because different people have different software for different functionality.
Yep.
A lot of people do a lot of online stuff, and it's good to hear who's using what and what's the most popular and what its functionality is. So that's good to know.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm probably only, I don't know, a month or 6 weeks into the Team Up app, but it's been good for
Yep.
me so far and does
Good.
everything that I need it to do. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's great. What got you into the sort of the health and well-being coaching? Because that's obviously the Hekanza component, being a registered health coach.
Yeah.
What took you down that path?
It's always been um, a subject of interest, and I've always liked to keep myself fit and healthy. I think when my late wife was sick, we went through a whole, um, you know, journey there and that wellness side
Mm,
of things, and it didn't work out as we would like. We've done, lots with diet and meditation and different stuff, and
yeah.
then when I started PTing. Um, and I'd done that for a few years, but I found a lot of people struggle in that area. They just need advice. They don't know where to start.
Right.
Um, and I think I just felt I could help people in that area. So that's the reason I got into it. One, it's my personality to want to help people. And
Yep.
I thought there was lots of people out there that needed help. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, but so that's morphed into, and I do some stuff with the local medical clinic. I do some health check work with them and create vision plans for
Mm,
clients, which is
yep.
a Medicare funded thing over here.
Mm, mm,
Um, and I work with some NDIS clients, but I have found it more difficult to get just your regular clients on um, repeat basis, I guess. Yeah.
right. Right.
So there's no doubt the funded work, if you can get a hold of it, is more sustainable than trying to attract, regular Joe average clients every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a similar story in New Zealand, and health coaches are becoming more common in doctors' surgeries, doctors' practices now,
Yes.
and are becoming, funded by the health system, but they're not particularly well rewarded. They're not paid well,
Yep.
but their services are there for some of the week, I believe, depending on the setup and
Yeah.
the surgery. So I think we've still got a way to go before it becomes just, as many health coaches as there are doctors, or a better pay for people who are actually working in that preventative medicine space as opposed to the here's a pill
Yeah.
space.
It's definitely, I think, growing, and I'd like to think it will grow. And I'm really
Mm,
pleased our local GPs, in a way, recognised, even though that it's funded. But the GPs here have recognised, well, we're more a bit of a telling model. Okay, so Richard comes in,
mm,
he's got a few problems, and I say, Richard, you got to stop drinking and you got to take this pill, and that's it. 15 minutes
yeah,
out the door.
yeah,
And so in my sessions with clients that I do the health check with, and create a plan, we talk about, well, how would you like your health to look in 12 months' time?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
okay, and we create a vision for that, and then okay, what can we do? What would you like to have in place in 3 months' time that will get you towards that 12-month plan? And then okay, what steps can you take this week, that will help you get towards that 3 month plan
yeah.
that will help. And we set that all out,
Nice.
and I email it to them so they can have it there in front of them. The downfall of the system is there's no follow up. It's funded for that one session. Okay, so I
Uh,
send them away, um, with a plan that they've created. I've helped them
yep,
create, but it's their
yep.
plan. They've
Mm,
and then there's no follow up other than the doctors are supposed to. It's all. I have access to the medical centre's software, so
mm,
that plan's all laid out in the client's file,
yep.
and the doctors are supposed to check in with them, but if they do or
Yeah,
not. But yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
it's a good stepping stone towards hopefully better outcomes for
yeah.
the patients. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good. So you're a bit of a footy player in your day, I understand. Is that right? And you still coach?
Well, yeah, I did play quite a bit, and I'm coaching my son's under
Nice.
16 team at the minute. Yes.
Excellent.
You've been
And
doing
so
some research there.
yeah, maybe a little bit. And so tell us a bit about the nickname Dash. I mean, is it as obvious as you're a damn fast runner?
I'd like to think so, but I'm not sure it's that obvious. Running was one of my, I guess, strengths, but I think it really came more from my name, Darrell and Daz, and
Ah,
morphed into Dash, where we're pretty big on nicknames here in Australia, and
you are.
most people have got one. I've got some mates. They'll really have to think hard what their actual name is because you just call them by their nickname all their life. So yeah,
Yep, yep, yep.
but
You'd
yeah,
never be
it's
able to look them
nothing.
up in the phone book.
Yes, that's right. It's nothing more than it morphed from a few little alterations to my name, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you always played as a kid. So what code? Because there's a number of different footy in on this side of the world. It could be anything, couldn't it? Whereas in the UK, it's a round ball.
Yes, that's it. That's right. I play Australian rules footy, and
Right,
in my area where I live, Melbourne in particular, but anything north of Melbourne, all through Victoria, into southern New South Wales is a real AFL stronghold. And
right.
then, although AFL is growing strongly in, Sydney, Queensland, it's traditionally more a rugby league stronghold up there. So, yeah, but AFL is certainly the code of choice in the area where I live. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
Is
quite
it league or union is bigger uh,
in the UK.
in New Zealand?
New Zealand. Oh, New Zealand. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm probably not the right person to ask, but union's kind of a religion here,
Yeah,
and and league's definitely popular too. But if you compare the All Blacks to the Warriors, it's not really, it's not a fair comparison. But I think there's a sort of not a mass exodus, but certainly sort of unions becoming less popular, I think, in terms of viewer numbers. And I think
yeah,
league's got more flow to it, and I think it's some pretty brutal hits in league
yeah.
as well, which can be quite entertaining, I suppose, if it's not you involved.
I think maybe it depends where the money is.
Mm.
and
Yeah.
certainly there's quite a lot of money in over. Not as much as in English football, I guess, but the money in AFL is getting quite substantial now, and
Okay.
I believe it's pretty good in probably better in league than union. I might be wrong. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, I think you could be right. I mean, I'm not an expert by any means. That's interesting. So, tell us a little bit about this retreat that you did. You did a 10-day retreat, which kind of took you down the path of mindfulness and meditation and
Yeah.
kind of added another sort of string to your bow in terms of how you would approach clients.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the most traumatic times of my life, but one I
Mm,
look back on where I learnt a lot as well. It was when my wife was diagnosed at 37 with bowel cancer. It was terminal right from the
right,
start. So
right.
we had a lot of decisions to make about treatment, and we did go down the chemotherapy path, but it made my wife quite ill.
Mm,
And we knew that it wasn't a long-term outfit, it was just really palliative. So
yeah.
um, we went to the Gawler Foundation down in the Yarra Valley and did a lot with a guy named Ian Gawler,
Yeah.
who was, followed a strict sort of vegan diet and did a lot with meditation. So it was a
Mm,
10-day living thing, and my wife went back there again. But I've always, since that day, been, really. Um, focused on my own sort of dietary habits, and
mm,
I try to incorporate meditation and mindfulness to most things. But I think it's hopefully made me fairly grounded in yeah, just with clients and how I view clients, and hopefully makes me a good listener rather than
mm.
a teller. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. And that works well with the coaching, doesn't it? It's
Sorry, I'll just get rid of that.
the coaching piece on like you were saying, we're not telling, we're asking. It's just asking and asking the right questions at the right time for people to be able to find the answers they need to work on their own health.
Yeah, and I like that part. I like
Mm,
it's probably challenging, but I like the wellness coaching part where you're helping to lead that person in the way they want to go, not
mm,
telling them the
mm.
path you think they should go. Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
can be challenging, but it's really rewarding when it works out right and the client is invested. They walk away feeling great about the plan they've come up with for themselves. Really, we've just helped
yeah.
facilitate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's quite a contrast, isn't it, between classic PT and health coaching. You're very directive with PT. You've got to do it this way, da 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 da,
Yeah.
adjust, tweak, and get
Yeah.
on with it. And work hard, and all that stuff, which is obviously positive and encouraging, but it's very much telling.
Yes.
And health coaching is completely the opposite. So I think having both skills is so useful because there is some overlap, right? Sometimes you'll ask
Definitely.
a question of somebody rather than tell them something to do in a PT scenario because it's more appropriate for the situation.
Yeah. And there's no doubt. I think particularly in the community I lived in and live in and have been a while, as you probably know, Richard, a lot of times your PT sessions are in a way a counselling session,
Mm,
and
yep.
it's not, and I've learnt not to, again, be curious. Just, you give advice where you think it can be helpful, but
Mm,
I never think I'm the expert in any area. You're just trying to help that person find their way. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. And I think people appreciate that approach because they feel helped and supported, but they're not being told what. No one likes being told what to do anyway.
Yeah, no, and pushed into areas they don't want to go. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Oh, brilliant. Well, the research that you caught on to that I had done has kind of I've got to the bottom of my page and I've found some space that I can start scribbling when I ask you to share some of your top tips. I know you've subtly dropped a few nice ones in there already, Darrell, but are there any others that sort of spring to mind for you from maybe a business point of view or a personal perspective that kind of have stood the test of time and maybe even things that you live by.
Yeah. I guess I find PT um, is a lot about communication. I reel this one out a bit where,
Mm.
back when I had the commercial gym, my business partner and I were, if we were hiring PTs and looking for a new PT, and if I had an exercise physiologist with all the technical knowledge and brilliant, um, and he applied, and I had a bricklayer with a personality that everyone loved to be around, I would choose the bricklayer every time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking about the exercise physiologist with all the knowledge, but not a lot of, um,
Yes.
in a way, personality or whatever to connect
Yep.
with the client. So it's a
Yep.
lot about connecting with the client,
Mm.
is what will make good PTs. But then, obviously, burnout for me, finding my niche in these classes, the KLT classes
Mm.
that I run, 20 odd a week, but I don't run, I run 15. I have a girl runs the other lot. And so not
Yep.
overdoing it, but being able to find a niche where the hourly rate is really good when you get 8 people to a class,
Yes.
and not, wearing yourself out is
Mm.
really important. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Or, I'm not sure what the average lifespan of a PT is these days, but I think it used to be somewhere between, maybe 5 to 7 years. It may even be less.
Yeah. Yeah. Not sure. I mean, I know the dropout rate is quite high or has been high.
Yep.
But you're right. I don't know. I mean, I think a number of people. Are you still there?
Yep.
Yep. Sorry, I've just lost you from my screen. As long as we've got audio, that is the most important bit.
Yep.
Um, yeah, a few colleagues of mine actually, after sort of going through the horrible years of COVID, have decided to chuck it in for one reason or another. And I think it's challenging when the things that you feel like you can control are completely uncontrollable, and you're told how to run your business. And there's all those restrictions that can take its toll. And I think for some people that was too much. And
Yep.
yeah, and I think not overburdening yourself with the physicality of lots and lots of classes every week is an important balance to strike. And everyone's gonna it's gonna be different for everyone, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think everyone's got to find their own niche and their own way. Yeah. And I think don't always make it just about the money either. It's got to be about the client and, hopefully getting the outcomes they want, but you've got to be financially rewarded as well. But it can't be all about that. I think people work that out. I think I've lost you.